So this is from The Yoga of Discipline. It's a book by Guru Mai Chidvilasananda. It's about the beauty of being a human being and how divine it is actually to be in a body and to be in this world. She says, have you ever wondered why you were born? The sages have an answer for this. They say it is your destiny. You have earned this human birth. It is the fruit of your hard work, and in the past you performed so many good actions. You accumulated so much merit that you have been given a human body, and with it, the chance to know the Supreme Self. So not only a human birth, but a sublime gift along with it, the power to know the Self, large S. Now it is up to you. You must put your body to good use. She goes on to say, just a few more lines, the human body is equipped with the incredible ability to open the doors to the subtler realms, just as gold is found in a gold mine and lotus in a pond, innocent laughter and child, and tenderness in a generous heart. And you know what the best part is? This experience does not have to be a one-time thing. It can become an unfading source of inspiration. This amazing promise transforms a seeker's attitude toward his or her body. He or she no longer seeks it as a burden, but as his or her greatest asset, the vehicle that sustains the inner journey. The body is a wonderful friend. I really like that. Close your eyes. Whatever your religious background is, whatever tradition of yoga you follow, I kindly ask, even just for this 90-minute class, that you can just entertain the idea that your life is an appointment with destiny, that this is not some random accident, that it's even a reward. Even if you don't feel well, even if there is so much challenge going on, even if the shoulder is tweaked and the knee doesn't seem to work, can we just for a moment feel and understand that this body is a gift and a vehicle to go deeper, a vehicle to do yoga, a temple for consciousness itself. That we're even here together is really a miracle. I mention this so many times, that the chances of us even being born, what needs to happen for a human birth, is just the odds are so stacked against us, and here we are. Bring your left hand to your heart center and your right hand to the back of your left hand. Certainly in my classes, you have heard me talk a great deal of consciousness and spirit and God and the importance of remembering this. When we open to something bigger, we're not opening to something separate. If I seem to punch this notion of spirit, it's only because we forget our spirit nature, the nature of our nature. That's all. We just forget over and over and over. And again, that is part of the human condition. It's easy to remember that we're human because we're in this human form. I don't think we need to be reminded that we're human beings. But we may need to be reminded of how divine this is and what an appointment, a beautiful appointment with destiny that we are keeping. If we can reconcile that with spirit itself, then that's our work, that's the sadhana. That's why we come here to practice. We practice to strengthen the body so that we can do our dharma in the world. We can be of service. Let's do 3 ohms together. Nice deep inhale. Just bow your chin towards your heart, bowing to yourself, to your embodiment, this gift of humanity. And release your hands, open your eyes. Let's go right into downward facing dog. We're going to do a few handstands later to celebrate our humanity. What better way than to go upside down? Stretch back. Stretch back with the hips and stretch down with the arms. And you're strong, downward facing dog. So I look around and I say, and you can say this to yourself if I can't see you, if you can do downward facing dog like this and just get the upper back to melt in a little bit, keep your arms straight and hold it for about 5 breaths, then you are a prime candidate to try going up into a handstand. You can even bend your knees and let your upper back move in more. So when you slacken the hamstrings, when you bend your knees, the heart, the sternum can move in toward the knees. And then straighten the legs, but keep the hands pressing down. Good. Step your right foot forward. Good. Bring your hands onto your waist. Bring both arms up to the sky. Take your left hand, grab your right wrist, have your hand facing the front of the room, and twist over to the what? To the right. Yeah, like this. Keep your back leg nice and strong. And sink a little bit deeper into the right leg. Look up at the sky and turn up to the sky and get a nice deep breath into the left side of the body. Great. Bring the hands down and step back, downward facing dog. Come to plank pose. Let's go through chaturanga for a moment. Just soften the hips to the floor. Keep the arms straight. Stretch the legs out, bend the elbows, a nice soft cobra. You can put your hips now on the floor and your knees. And then tuck the toes under and come to downward facing dog. And then bring your left foot forward. Bring both arms up in the sky. Grab a hold of the wrist. You're going to take your right wrist with your left hand, palm facing the front of the room, rooting into the tailbone. Let's get a nice stretch into the right side of the body so that the intercostals can begin to open up, so you can breathe, so you can feel consciousness. Lift your back leg a little more. There you go. Look at the sky. Last breath. Bring the hands down. Step back, downward facing dog. Come to plank pose. And if you can hold plank for about 4 or 5 breaths without sagging in the hips, staying nice and connected to the core as you tuck the tailbone to the back of the room and up to the belly button for about 4 or 5 breaths like this with straight arms, you are really a candidate for a handstand and president. Take one more breath. Downward facing dog. Okay, everyone's going up. Not now, but everyone's going up, at least here. Walk to the front of your mat. Keep the legs strong and just grab onto your elbows. So you don't have your hands on the floor. That's a lot of weight in the lumbar spine. So lift your toes up, squeeze your feet towards each other, squeeze the muscles of the leg, even bring the energy from the feet up into the hips as an affirmation of your humanity. We can do this because we're human. And then bring your toes down and let your trunk get a little deeper toward the floor. Let your crown, your palate, get heavier toward the floor. But keep taking the thighs back and allowing your outer rib cage on both sides to gently cascade toward the floor. And touch your fingertips to the floor. Take a deep inhale, look forward. Exhale and bow. Twice more. Inhale, long spine, extending. Exhale and bow deeply. Again, stretch the belly forward. Rib cage toward armpits. Exhale and bow. Really nice. Bring your hands to your waist. Push into the feet. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, release the hands. Inhale, float them up to the sky. Hello, sun. Exhale, bow, touch the floor. Inhale, look forward. Exhale and fold. Good. Step back, downward dog. The way you have your hands in downward facing dog, since I've lost my voice for some reason, is the way you'll keep your hands in a handstand. So your hands are about shoulder width apart. Squeeze the forearms towards each other. And as you press the heels back, also scoop the tailbone a little, because you want to get the core working. This is one of the key things that I found in trying to balance in a handstand, or even just going up, is that the core is working, working, working. It is not disconnected. Come to plank pose. Take the tailbone toward the heels and hook it up toward the belly. So you feel it in your belly. You're holding plank with your belly as well as your hands and your feet. Keep the legs strong, the arms strong. Lower down, chaturanga. You can bring knees down too if you'd like. Come to cobra pose, lifting up and back, shoulders back, ears back. And tuck your toes under and come to downward facing dog. So also take the premise that this hatha yoga practice is not just about your hamstrings and your arm strength, but a celebration of your human form with all the tweaks and aches and pains. I get it. I've had them. I still do. And yet still, this is a vehicle to go deeper. This is the vehicle to find more of the large S self. Bring your right foot forward. Come to warrior two. Bring your left heel down and up. Bend your front knee deeply. And allow yourself to feel your legs. That might seem silly, but sometimes the lower body we can't quite feel. Actually, we can feel them much, much more easily in a standing pose. It's going to be harder to feel the legs when they're upside down. Bend your front knee a little bit more. Take the tailbone down and lift the belly up, and just for a moment, feel that fire in the core. Last breath. And then bring the hands down and step back, downward facing dog. Left foot forward, warrior two. It's just something that I've just noticed in my own practice and when I've just been teaching so often, is that we've become so skilled at feeling the musculature in the legs and feeling the musculature in the arms, but forgetting to connect it all in this beautifully watery element of the pelvis. So when you squeeze your legs, when you bend your front knee and really work the legs, draw that energy all the way up into the core of the pelvis. Scoop the tailbone and feel that fire right there, that fire of humanity, of being alive, right there in the bottom chakra, Muladhara. Take one more breath. Legs strong, take the hands down, step back, downward facing dog. Come to plank. Lower down to chaturanga. Lift up for cobra. Good, stretch the legs out, and downward facing dog. Stretching a little bit more on the sides of the body. Take both feet and turn them to the right. So you're on the inner edge of your right foot, the outer edge of your left foot, and both feet are facing the same direction. Your left foot is behind your right heel. You can always look here if you need a visual. Lift your butt up in the sky like regular down dog. So do a symmetrical down dog with the butt, even though your feet are facing to the right. And then let your butt just come over to the left and stretch your left arm a little bit further in front of you. You can pick your left hand up and just walk it just like a half an inch in front of your right hand in front of your left hand. There you go. So you're leaning up and back and to the left with your butt as you stretch the right arm into the floor. And then switch sides. Both feet facing the left. Right foot in back of the left heel. Outer edge of right foot, inner edge of left foot. Lift up symmetrically like down dog, so pull back with the hips. Then you're going to let the butt move all the way to the right. As you keep moving it back, pick your left hand up, walk it a half an inch forward. As your hips go to the right, you're going to feel more. You have to push down into your left hand and lift the butt up toward the sky. And then come back to center. Walk to the front of your mat, Uttanasana. Feet parallel, feet working, legs working, lower legs, upper legs, core of the pelvis, all of it. As you push your fingers into the floor, you can bend your elbows out to the side slightly. You'll get the shoulder blades on the back. And pushing into the floor will allow you to get the head to go a little bit deeper toward the floor. And bowing into your own heart. As we look into our own density to find what's hidden, we look into our own density to find what is not absent, invisible, it's just what's hidden. Because it's there, it just needs to be searched for. Inhale, look forward. Exhale and bow. Inhale, lift the arms up. Bend your knees, chair pose. Root the tailbone, lift the belly, take the arms back a little bit more. Sit deeper, tailbone, lift belly, lift the arms up and back. And a little bit deeper, squeeze the legs towards each other, tailbone down, belly up, and take the armpits back. Slowly, 8, come up, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, push, 2, 1, and then lift all the way up and back. Exhale, bow all the way down and touch the floor. Does anybody have a hard time feeling their core sometimes, once in a while? I just feel like we forget about it. We're kind of all legs and arms, all appendages. We want to be aware of it. Step back, downward facing dog. Come to plank pose. Take your right hand and just tap your left shoulder, just like that, boom. And then do the same, left on right, and go back and forth a little bit. Just to, it's just like a big, you can go back quickly. This is just a quick way for you to develop trust in your own strength. So in plank, just go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. There we go, and then come to downward facing dog. Right foot forward, side angle, Parsvakonasana. Left arm up. And then left arm over. Remedial, you can bring the right forearm onto the right thigh. That's the remedial way. I also don't mind if the right fingertips come to the inside of the right foot. Full pose on the outside. Root the tailbone down. That's going to bring the right hip back. So listen, everyone, take a deep breath into the right side body. Make that longer. And then turn your eyes and your lungs to the sky. And take one more breath, straight arm on the top arm. And then bring the left hand down and step back, downward facing dog. Left foot forward, Parshvakonasana. Right heel down. Arm over the ear. It's still relatively early in class, so if straightening that right arm closes you off, if you can't get the opening, if you can't lean back and pull the right shoulder back, absolutely okay just to bring the right hand onto the waistline. But keep the leg strong, take the left hip in. Once again, breathe into the left side, make that long, and then turn eyes to the sky. Take one more breath from back foot to right pinky, and then bring the right hand down and step back, downward facing dog. Come to plank. Take a deep inhale. Lower down. Cobra or up dog. That would be straight arms and pelvis lifting, knees lifting, and then tuck toes under, lift knees up, downward facing dog. Bring your right foot forward to the middle of your mat, middle of the mat, but front of the mat. So you're right in the middle. Come up onto your fingertips, walk your fingertips forward, peel the right inner edge of your right foot off the floor, like you were going to come in pigeon. So you're all the way on the outer edge. Lift your hips up, and then take your heart down and forward. And yes, do take your right knee towards the right. You don't have to force it to the floor. Good, Carol, take your fingertips forward. So part of the opening here, it's tricky. Part of the opening is to keep the hips high up to the sky, but let the upper back move down and forward, flexing your toes. You might have to walk your hands forward more for that on fingertips. If you go forward here on the fingertips. Yeah, and then you have clearance to get the right knee down. Oh, yes, indeed. Good morning, afternoon, or evening. Good night and good luck. And come back, downward facing dog. Yummy sounds. The new pranayama. Left foot forward to the middle. Walk your fingertips forward and peel the inner left foot off the floor and let your left knee open to the left. You're very familiar with pigeon. This is a little more intense. As you walk your fingertips forward, lift your butt high, so the right thigh bone is going to lift up. Look forward more, and let your upper back move down and forward over your foot. So you can calibrate the opening here. When it's too much, you just back off. Good, ducky, lift up here. Walk your fingers a little bit further forward. Flex your toes and open. There we go. And soften down to the floor. Yes. And keep up. Downward facing dog. Good. Bend your knees, look forward, walk or jump to the top. Inhale, look forward with the heart, not just the eyes. Exhale and bow. Interlace your fingers behind your back, bend your knees and stretch the arms up and over. And then straighten the legs by taking the thighs straight back, but keep the arms moving up and over. Lift the chin just slightly so you're not rounded in the neck. There you go. How you doing? You can also use this if you want to take this. You can hold that. Great. Release the hands to the floor. On an inhale, just gaze forward. Bend your knees. Come back to Utkatasana. Sit all the way down. It might be a thump. Lift your legs up in the sky. Navasana. Keep stretching the legs out. Come to Ardha Navasana. So you're going to come halfway down. Your shoulders are still off the floor. And then back up. Twice more down. Ardha. And up. Nice. And down. And up. Okay, go down one last time. Keep your legs up, but come all the way up onto your back, all the way down onto your back, and put your legs up to 90 degrees, and stretch your arms up over your head. Keep your right leg up, and take your left foot just so it's hovering over the floor. If you need to change the position of your hands to do this, that's okay. It's a little more intense with the arms up, and you can even interlace your thumbs and stretch. So this is what the legs look like when you're about to go up into a handstand. And I want you to feel it in your core here so that you feel it in your core when you go up in a moment. Good. Bring the left leg up and right leg down. Imagine you just kicked up. Good. Stretch back. Flex your toes. Come all the way back up. One more time. Take the left leg down. And back up. Right leg down. Flex your toes. So you got to make that right leg really strong. Then all the way back up. Bring both legs down straight. Hover over the floor. I can tell who does Pilates and who doesn't. Right? Bring your legs all the way back up. You can also do this with bent legs. Just 2 more times. Down toward the floor. Pause. Stretch through the arms. Tailbone down. Kidneys down. All the way up. And one more time. You see, you can feel this in the legs, but not the core. So I want you to connect this to the core in the pelvis. Come all the way back up. And then hug your legs in towards your chest. Nicely done. Roll over to your side, and let's come to downward facing dog. Humanity might not have felt so good after the 6th set. Or maybe it does. I don't know. Bring your right foot forward and come to triangle pose. Okay, bend your front knee, look forward, keep the tailbone in, and come up to Ardha Chandrasana, especially in the right side. So do a little more outer rotation on your right hip. Pull the right hip back, lift the belly up. Back to triangle pose. Stretch back. Full pose, so stretch all the way back, push down into the feet, lift up with the left arm, and curl the ears back. Great, downward facing dog, second side. Sorry, Trikonasana. It was a mind-reading moment. You know what I was thinking? As each of these poses get more challenging, the really big challenge is to remember the divinity of humanity, of the body, especially as it gets hot and the muscles want to contract and you want to come out. Bend your left knee. Pause here. Before you even come up, take the right hip back and tuck the butt under. Take that tailbone down and engage it even as you step up, Ardha Chandrasana. So don't lose it when you come up. Nice, Mackie. So there's a lot of outer rotation on that left leg. The tailbone hooks, and then you can lift your belly up off of your left thigh and extend out through right foot, left foot, both arms, and the palate. Step back, triangle pose. So inhale, come all the way up, push down, come all the way up, and then turn both feet toward the right and come to Prasarita, just to get into the hips, the inner thighs a little bit more. So both feet are facing the same direction. You can bow forward here. If you want to change the world, live in it. A quote I love. If you want to change the world, you have to live in it. Not transcend it. Interlace your fingers behind your back just for a moment. Micro bend the knees and stretch the arms up and over. Pull the feet together and then roll your inner thighs towards each other. And take the femur heads and push them straight back into the hamstrings. And then finally widen your inner thighs apart all the way up near iliacus, all the way up at the core of the pelvis. Make a visual. The core of the pelvis expanding with every breath. The arms lifting toward the clouds and then over. All right. Bring your hands to your waist. Push back with the inner thighs. Push down into the feet. Inhale. Come all the way up. Okay, I think you're ready for handstand number 1. I'm actually sure of it. So here's what we do. Come to the front, you come to the sides, just don't come right down here. You can also use this wall as well. And you can bring your mats. Unless you don't mind doing handstand, if you feel like you could do handstand without a mat, mats aren't necessary. Make sure you bring your strap as well. All right. So the first handstand, old school traditional, no straps yet. We're going to do it very, very soon. We're going to do something with straps soon. If you just look here, I place my hands just a couple of inches from the wall. What I want you to work on first is when you kick up, squeeze the legs and feel it in your core. Feel it in your core here and feel it in your core when both feet come off the floor, even if you can't get up to the wall. You can even come down a few times too. If you're afraid to go up, one of the things I find helpful is to come to child's pose and have a visualization of yourself coming up. Because I feel like this is where your anxiety and your determination meet in a visualization. You know what I mean? It's it's like it has a like Mr. and Mrs. Determination have a conversation with anxiety. And you can have a conversation and then it's a little bit easier to visualize it and then try it. If you can't stick it, it's okay. But everyone, feet up, root the tailbone and lift up here and feel it in your belly and keep it in your belly as you come up. It's a lot easier to get that engagement when your feet are on the floor than to feel it, disengage it, come back up, re-engage it, right from the get-go. Okay. All right. Yes, middle of the room is okay too. So, and I'm going to give anybody a hand if they're really struggling. Yeah. That's okay.
I get almost there and then I just...
No problem. So you kick up a couple of times. Here, stay there. It's right there. Good. And keep the arms strong. You don't have to stay for too long because we're going to do a few more. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just getting it.
And once you're up there, tailbone, and stretch the legs up. And keep it in, keep the core going when you come down. Thank you, Barbara. Good. Remember, you can come down whenever you want. Nice.
Nice. Good. Super.
Okay. Good. All right, let's do this. This is not a handstand, but you're going to take your strap, and if you're at home doing this, just make sure that the strap has a loop that's inner armpit apart. So it's not outer shoulder, that's too wide, just inner armpit. Susan, since you're right here, can you do this? You're going to bring your feet forward, and I'm going to put the straps around your arms. You're just going to do a shoulder stretch here, and you can stick your butt onto the wall so you don't fall over. So you're going to get your strap. You can bring your arms up. Yeah, you don't even have to do that. Just, yeah. 1. There we go. So your palms are going to face each other. You can even make a very soft fist if you like. And you're going to pull the strap apart. And if you want to walk your feet further this way, you can. What's great about having the wall here is that you won't get pulled over. If you're doing this with someone, you can do this alone. If you're doing this with someone, because I know people do practice on Yogaglo with groups, you can take the strap and gently pull, extend, and then over. If not, you can absolutely do what she's doing right now on your own. So let's do that on our own, just for time's sake. So your feet are walked forward, your butt's against the wall, and you can push your butt into the wall. This way, when you bring the arms forward, your butt pushing to the wall will help you not do a somersault. So your hands are facing each other, maybe a little bit of a fist, and pull the strap taut. Yeah, behind you.
Where are they going?
Here. Put your arms behind you. There you go. And then palms facing you.
This
Same
is
thing.
like backwards.
I know, it feels, and then you can release your hands. There you go. Take about 3 breaths here. So you're pulling the wrists apart. Last 15 seconds here. So Ronnie, your arms are going to go behind you. Yeah. That's not going to do too much. Bring your arms behind you this way. That's right. And then, yeah. And then up and over. Okay. And bring it down. Yes, the arms have to go behind you for the stretch. If they're here, it's not going to, like, oh. Okay, do the same handstand and see if that made a difference at all. This is like just a before and after. It might not, but this opening in the shoulder, it might increase the ease of coming up to the wall. Just see if it's easier. Balance, maybe, maybe not, but just see if it's easier to get up. Nice, Tad. Once you're up, stretch the arms. Don't forget the core. All right. And come on down. Easier, no difference, a little bit easier. Okay. So that's the quick and dirty thing you can do at home if you're feeling a little tight. Sometimes you don't have the time to practice at home. So I have like these all right, what can I do quickly to just kind of open up the shoulders so I get the strap? I'm like, wah. You know, so let's do this now. Let's do downward dog at the wall. It's one of my favorite Iyengar things. I do this in almost every Iyengar class I take. Do downward facing dog with your hands completely outwardly rotated. So the thumb and the index finger out like this. You're going to push into the wall so that we can learn and feel a big external rotation in the upper arm. So, and it'll give you some space in the back. So push your thumb, index finger, and then press the heels back. And as the upper arms rotate externally, perhaps you can feel that space right between the shoulder blades begin to open up. You're pushing the wall forward as you press your heels back. Expect 3 or 4 breaths. Good. Bring your thumb here. There we go. And come to child's pose. When I think of all the elements that are required for a handstand, the list is so long. The core and the legs, and where did the shoulders go to begin? We go upside down so we can experience our lives in as many different directions and shapes as we possibly can. It's fun. Even if you're scared, it's fun. Come on up. On your last handstand here, or maybe second to last, depending on how it goes, try this. This is like an experimental class in many ways. Try going up in the handstand with your hands just like you had in downward facing dog. Not pressed up against the wall, though. That's a little tricky. But where you had your hands for the first one, try an external rotation with your hands and see how that feels. Is it easier to balance? Same thing, though. Try to get that inner thigh to the wall. And the core, really working the core. Once here, slide the feet up off the wall. And you just play. And just play. Take one foot off the other. See if maybe you can balance in this extreme outer rotation. Yes, I'll give you all boost.
I'm having a mental block these days.
No, I get it. Don't forget that visual.
Yeah.
See yourself going up into it. We don't go up this way very often, so it might take you a few kicks. Hold on. Did that help, Rio? Did you say no? Flex the toes. Good. Good. Take your one foot and then the other. But squeeze the legs and the core. Good. Once more. I got you here. Squeeze the butt. Harder? Okay. Got it. Feel on the shoulders more? Harder or easier? Harder. Harder.
The fingers are brakes to stop you from going too far.
Ah.
The just keep kind of going too far.
Ah, right.
Used to having that break.
Right. I'm sorry? Use your core more. Easier on the wrist, yes. But a little harder on the shoulders. Yeah. I tell you what, let's do one more, however you want. Actually, I prefer you do it traditional just to see, as we come full circle from the first one, how a traditional one, like handstand one, was. Just put your hands at the wall or in the middle of the room. Because one of the ways I like to learn is to do comparisons. I try this and I go back to that. I do something funky and then I come back to old school traditional and see if anything helps. That's good. Hold on, I'm going to give you a little hand here. Lift your leg up. There we go. Good. Flex your toes and make your legs strong. Squeeze the butt. Squeeze the butt. Everyone squeeze butt. That's a way to access core a little bit. Yeah. Boom. Okay. Nice. Great. All right. Mackie, amazing. Handstand portion is coming to a close. Nice, Barbara. Can you get the other leg up? Yes. That's a good practice to find core. Okay, come back to your to the center. Here's one thing I learned with balancing in handstand, of the many things, when we used to practice. Remember, we used to practice in the park. The more the environment is not conducive to balancing, the easier it becomes to balance when you have your hands in it, or you have yourself in a traditional way. So if you're on terrain that's not even, if you have your hands and you experiment here, you do all this funk, like one hand, one finger on fingertips, it's really tricky. But then when you come back to old school, it's like, oh my God, on a hard floor that's even, it's like heaven. Let's come to downward facing dog. If you were able to do this downward dog and able to do plank, I invite you to keep practicing kicking up if you had difficulty kicking up. You just do that at home. Do your visualization so determination and anxiety can have that conversation. Because it might just be a block, meaning a fear, and preventing yourself to go up. Onto your right hand and the outer edge of your right foot. A lot of arm stuff. Lift your left arm up. Take your left arm over your ear. Nice, Renee. Lift your hips a little higher. Good, Rio. Downward facing dog. Left hand, left foot. What's great is everyone feels something different. Everyone has different answers, like, oh, that was harder on the shoulders, that was easier on the shoulders, that was more difficult to get up, that was easier to get up. The beauty of diversity in humanity. Downward facing dog. Right foot forward, pigeon pose. So just switch legs. Yeah. I don't know if I want you on my jewelry. Bow forward. My life is my message. Gandhi, my life is my message. Switch sides. Downward dog, left foot forward, pigeon. Since in most classes we privilege and prioritize consciousness because of our natural human ignorance, forgetfulness, let's privilege and prioritize our humanity, the appointment we're keeping with destiny. Come to downward facing dog. It's an interesting idea that, we have the gift of humanity. That's a given. That's, we're just here. But then we have the responsibility, if we want to take it, to go deeper and find our true self and take that journey. That's not given. That's just, hopefully, you take that invitation. Not everyone does it. Walk to the front of your mat. Look forward on the inhale. Exhale and bow. Rise all the way up. Hands to prayer. Left foot to the inner right thigh, tree pose. Yeah, you can start with your hands in prayer. Transition up. Curl the fingers like you're holding onto a balloon. Take the shoulders back, root the tailbone. Feel it in the core as you push down into your right foot. And then lift the belly higher. Lift the belly up towards your head and all the way up towards your fingers. Arms out, lift the heart up, and arch back, arch back. Keep the legs engaged. And then release. Yes. Second side. Left foot into the inner right thigh. Hands to prayer. A slow lift, holding the imaginary balloon. That's just another visual to allow you to find midline. And then you can stretch the fingers up, stretch the elbows straight, and part the arms a little bit. Good. Root the tailbone, lift the belly, push into your left leg, and lift up and curl back like you were going to do a drop back. Just let the ears move back, but lift the upper back up. Yes, nice, Barbara. And then bring the hands down and release. Good. Touch the floor. Lengthen through the spine as you look forward. And fold deeply. Good. And step back to down dog. right foot forward. Bring your left knee on the floor. Both hands onto your right thigh and lunge. And you can bring the top of your left foot down. Top of the left foot. Yeah, get a little more stretch there. But if you're going to push it, have it down, push the toenails down. So much that your ankle lifts a little bit. The instep will lift just from the power of pushing down. And then drag your left knee forward, but don't actually move it. And then lunge deeper into your right leg. Good, Tad. Bring your right foot a little further forward, a little bit. Lift your arms up. Hands to prayer behind the head. Good. Ronnie, you too. You can bring your front foot forward a little bit more so you can get a deeper lunge. Yeah, like that. Push the head back, tailbone down, lift the belly, and arch, curl back through the upper palate. So don't make it so much of a back bend in the lower back, not from the mouth to the lumbar spine, just from the jawline to the bottom tips of the shoulder blades, and lift that up with the bottom tips of the heart up with the bottom tips of the shoulder blades. Last breath, bring the arms up, unfold them. Good, lift up and back, thumbs back. Bring the hands down, downward facing dog. The exhales are getting more pronounced on the release of every pose. Left foot, right knee down. Top of the right foot down. It would be like you're lifting your toes up. So when you push your toenails down into the floor, it's like the equivalent if you were standing Tadasana and lifting the toes up. It's just to engage some muscularity in those areas that we can't see, i.e. the back of the body. And then lunge deeply. Push the toenails down and drag the right knee forward. Lift the arms up. Lunge, hands to prayer behind the head. Here you go. So right behind the occiput, you push your head back into your hands, engage those muscles right behind the heart, and commit to curling from the jawline, from the palate, back. Think of a circle. There's the visual again, a circle going from the palate and looping through the bottom tips of the shoulder blades, lifting the base of your heart up to the sky while the tailbone moves down. So stretch down into the legs, lift up, last breath. Now bring your arms up to the sky. Take the armpits back, stretch the thumbs, and then bring the hands down. Downward facing dog. Come to plank pose. And lower down onto your stomach. Okay, just take your right hand underneath you, right arm, and bend the left knee. Ardha Bakasana. You can take the foot close to your outer edge of your left butt. You guys feel if you take the tailbone down and under, your pelvis will smush into the floor more, and you'll feel more thigh stretch. So you're going to feel the stretch not only from just bringing the foot down towards your butt, but you're going to get that extra stretch if the tailbone lengthens to the back of the room and curls up to the belly. You're going to lift the belly, but the pelvis stays down. Take your left shoulder back more and square to the right. And release. Good. Is that good, frog? Second side. A grand oui. I'm not dazzling you with my French today. I might need more green tea. Good. So the first part of the thigh stretch, yes, into the quadricep. The second part, for a little extra oomph, tailbone actively moves to the back of the room toward the heels, and you hook it, carve it up to the belly button. Square to the left. And release. Bring your head down onto your hands. You can make a pillow and turn your head to the right. Turning within is called yoga. Yoga is the divine discipline that gives a seeker the power to turn his attention within. It makes him understand the true purpose of the senses. It uncovers the glory hidden within him, and it enables him to go deep into the cave of his own heart. It shows him the way to unite heaven and earth. Yoga gives a seeker the strength to uplift his energies and become mature. This book is really about, as the title says, the yoga of discipline, the importance of not a harsh, dry discipline as we would think from the definition of conventional definition. But there's a sweet discipline that needs to happen to direct our attention to find the true self. That's it. Good. Lift your head up and bend your knees and grab both feet. We did both sides, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Just want to make sure. Oh, yes, we did. Right, take the tailbone towards your knees. Feel your pelvis smush into the floor, and then press your heels back and lift your heart up. Yes. Now everybody come onto your left-hand side. Roll to your left. Parsvadhanurasana. You're almost there, Barbara. Okay. And then all the way over to your right. Lift your right leg up maybe a little bit higher, and then take the head back more. Yeah, nice. Back to center, just one more breath for symmetry. Pull the heels back, feet back, lift the heart nice and high. Good, spread the toes. Come on down, make the pillow with your hand and turn your head to the left. And come on up. Let's do this. We are going to do a Urdhva Dhanurasana in a moment, but let's do this nice twist on the floor. You can harness your energy because we are going to be on our backs for a moment. It's a nice twist, thigh stretch, all in one. Take your left leg and you're going to cross it over. You can keep the knee bent, and if you want to look here first, because there's a lot of shenanigans going on in this. There's a lot of shenanigans in this pose. And to cross over, there's the twist. Oh. You can also hold the foot if you're a little more flexible, or you can keep it bent. I'm going to bend the bottom leg and hold that foot. So I have my left hand on my right foot, the knee facing the front of the room, and that's my thigh stretch. And then finally, I turn away from my top leg and get the shoulder, my left shoulder, and my left rib cage toward the floor, and that's the twist. So I have a few things going on here. I have a little hamstring stretch going here, thigh stretch here in my bottom leg, and then the twist to the left. Twists are a wonderful way to get the spine even more prepared and supple, ready for a back bend. So just a few tweaks here, if possible. The bottom knee is pointing directly forward. So instead of pointing to the wall to your right, see if you can maybe get the knee pointing forward. The top leg, if you can, it's straight. You can hold the outer edge of your left foot with your right hand, or a bent knee. And then for 3 breaths, with the softness of the breath, let your left shoulder get heavy to the floor. Let your left rib cage with breath twist to the left, even though your top leg is going to the right. I heard that. Maybe even look to the left. And release and come back up. Just pulsating a little cool opening with the fire. Second side. So we have the right leg going up, crossing over. How are my friends doing back here? Am I avoiding you, or are you kind of secretly happy I'm avoiding you?
My other, yours doesn't feel very good on my sacrum because I have like thing on this side. This one might be
It's okay, okay.
I haven't tried it.
Keep the legs engaged. It's a good point about the sacrum. Any kind of twist can be a little tricky on the sacrum, so keep the legs super engaged all the way up into the sacrum so your hips are actually compact. Yeah. The right shoulder is going to gently move toward the floor with a certain gentleness and generosity. The right rib cage also, and you can turn your head to the right. Come on out and bring both knees up toward your chest. That's sort of yummy and opening at the same time. Place your feet for bridge pose first. Your feet parallel, pushing into the inner edges of your feet. Lift your hips up and interlace your fingers behind your back. Somehow as we move toward back bend, in this particular moment, just energetically, I'm feeling softer now. I'm feeling like we can go deep without sort of so much fire. Lift your hips a little higher. Roll the shoulders under your back. Good. Lift your chin a little bit. Yeah. So we want to get your heart to reach toward the chin rather than tucking the chin. Nice, Tinka. One last breath. Good, Carol. And come on down. Nice. Close the eyes and let the legs come out. We're going to do 3 urdhvas. And I just want the quadriceps to have a breath there. Yeah. Yeah. Bring your feet, your legs straight out if you can. Yeah. I like to keep the legs out just for a quick rest because even any kind of knee bending engages the quadriceps, and I just want them to release. Okay, bend your knees, place your feet. You're absolutely invited to do bridge pose again. Otherwise, you're going to take your hands alongside your ears. Let the armpits move down toward the floor. Let the eyes get heavy. We open to something greater, not separate first. And then claw the floor. Make a visual of what you want to look like when you come to the top of your head. And on 3, 1, 2, 3, up. Good. It's strong, but it's gentle. Take the armpits and suck them toward the front of the room. Hollow them out. 1, 2, 3. Push into the legs and straighten the arms. Straight is relative. Good. Good. Soften. Great, 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 great. And come on down. That's number 1. That was good. If that's too much, you can just do bridge pose again. Let the legs come down. Feel, soften. No rush here. When it comes to back bends, it's deceiving how deep you can go if you soften just a bit. Bend the knees. Take the feet to the floor. Good. Place your hands. Great. On 3 to the top of your head. 1, 2, 3. So no freaking out here. You're right here. Just readjust your foundation. Make the breath steady. You can even close the eyes. Armpits to the front of the room. Shoulders on the back. 1, 2, 3. Push down. Maybe your arms are a little bit steadier. Pull the forearms towards each other, resisting. You can come up onto your toes. Bend your elbows to the side and just push your heart to the back wall. Yes, nice. Re-straighten arms, push the heels down, last breath, and come on down. Release the legs all the way out. Are y'all burning in the sun? No, a little bit. It's really much shadier just right back there. If you want to move back a little bit, at least on the face. There you go. Since 3's a charm, place your hands. The shoulder's a little tight. You might want to play with the same stance that we did in the handstand. If you want to outwardly rotate the fingers a little bit so they're not pointing completely forward, but just turned out a little bit, you can play with that and see if that might not help improve. Come to the top of your head. Recommit to the foundation, so straighten the feet out. Hollow the armpits. From the upper back, push all the way up into your back bend or bridge pose. Nice, Tad. Great. Ronnie, beautiful. Good. Strong arms. Pull the forearms in. Push the heart back. Yes, you can lift a leg or two. God, that's gorgeous. One last breath. And down we go. A celebration of your humanity right there. Let the legs release down. It takes the discipline and the effort really to get up there. And then when you release down, you feel this flush, this movement of consciousness through the body. It's like, yes, I'm alive. Upside down, and then back bends. Bend your knees and roll to the right side. And then all the way back up. And then take your left foot over your right knee. Right arm up. Cross over your left knee. And lift up through the spine, yeah. Take a deep inhale. Exhale, twist. Twist to the left. Again, for anyone who's feeling something in the low back with the twist, keep squeezing the legs towards each other for stability. Is your lower back okay here? Okay. In this twist, it's a little bit easier to get the integration of the legs so the SI joint's safer. When we were on our back, it's a little bit trickier because so much of our weight is over. So you can really squeeze in here. Inhale, look to the front of the room, and then untwist and switch sides. Right leg over left, left arm over right knee. So you can place your right foot close to your left knee, but do have it stamped down completely. So if you cannot do that, you might have to just play with the placement of that right leg. Inhale, squeezing the legs. Exhale, twisting from left back body. Inhale, inflate. Exhale, twist. Inhale, turn to the front of the room. Bring your legs straight out in front of you. You can separate the legs slightly. Lift your butt up, stick your butt out. Bow forward, and then come back down. You can also do the old removal of flesh from the butt. Inhale, Dandasana first stage of the forward bend, pushing the thighs down, lifting up all the way through the crown, shoulders back. Exhale, bow forward. You can use your hands once again to calibrate how far down to go. In each one of us, our humanity is in different states of tightness, openness. Good. Lift your butt up for 1 second. Just lift here. There you go. Soften the upper back, but don't soften the legs. Continue to move the energy from the feet into the hips as you push your legs also forward, and the upper back melts forward and down. Inhale all the way up. Let's sit in silence for just about 3 minutes or so before we take a nice shavasana. If you have a block, you can sit on a block or a blanket. And just close the eyes. All of a sudden, you may be able to experience your breath. Since there's less movement in the body, this sweet friend, the breath, has been with you this whole time, your whole life, and will be with you your whole life until you take the last breath. You can slowly make your way onto your backs. Shavasana. It's from Pema Chodron, Buddhist nun, one of my favorites. Spiritual awakening is frequently described as a journey to the top of a mountain. We leave our attachments and our worldliness behind and slowly make our way to the top. And at the peak, we have transcended all pain. The only problem with this metaphor is that we leave behind all others. Their suffering continues unrelieved by our personal escape. But on the journey of the warrior bodhisattva, the path goes down, not up, as if the mountain pointed towards the earth instead of the sky. So instead of transcending the suffering of all creatures, we move towards turbulence and doubt however we can. We explore the reality and unpredictability of insecurity and pain, and we try not to push it away. If it takes years, if it takes lifetimes, we let it be as it is, at our own pace, without speed or aggression. We move down and down and down, and with us move millions of others, our companions, in awakening from fear. At the bottom, we discover water, the healing water of bodhicitta. And bodhicitta is our heart, our wounded, softened heart. Right down there in the thick of things, we discover the love that will not die. This love is bodhicitta. It is gentle, warm, clear, sharp, open, and spacious. The awakened heart of the bodhicitta is the basic goodness of all beings. So many years throughout our yoga practice, we've heard to dive into the insecurity and the pain and the fear of life head on. Don't go around it, but go through it. I can never quite understand what that meant, why it was important. And after I read this, I realized that in order for us to be compassionate towards others, to feel their pain, an empathic response, we also need to go through our own humanity in that way, so that we can be of service, so that we can love more. Not transcend, but be in this life, even with all the gook and the poison. Otherwise, what's the point? And on your next inhalation, you can stretch your arms up over your head. And bend your knees and take a moment on the right-hand side. And then a slow roll up to a seated cross-leg position. Hands on the heart, left hand on the heart, right hand on the heart. I was telling my other class that this inclination to put my hands on my heart all of a sudden made sense when I was taking a class with Bonnie Bainbridge Cohen, or Body-Mind Centering, because I asked her why I always feel this inclination to do so. It feels warm and secure and just, I feel at home. And she told me that when we were embryos in development early on, when the heart is not even in the chest, it is outside of the chest, that we are actually holding our own hearts. And she showed me a photo, sonogram, of an early embryo. And there was the embryo, a little baby. It looked like a balloon on the chest, and the little flipper hands, because there was no fingers yet, they weren't differentiated yet, was literally holding the heart. And she told me that I was reenacting what always was, and that our memory, even in the womb, is just as real and valid as any other memory. And that's why I felt so at home. Just holding our own hearts. To the glory of humanity. Take a nice deep inhale. Slow exhale. Namaste.